I was going to ask, Kate Brown's job as Secretary of State, how is it, I mean, isn't partly her job is to look for qualified candidates that can actually be run for governor or so forth? And how did she allow all this to go through, knowing with all the corruption, and then suddenly, you know, she becomes governor? How does that work?
Well, you know, I mean, she certainly didn't make it easy for the Richardson campaign. You know, I'll give you an example. We got fined by her office because Representative Richardson was staying in a house in Portland part-time. He was actually house sitting, but we didn't report that as a in-kind contribution, and we got slapped with a pretty hefty fine. But then we found out that Tricia McKay and some other pretty high-level campaign strategists were giving time to Governor Kitzhaber's campaign, but they weren't reporting any in-kind contributions as far as the services they were providing. So we complained to the Secretary of State, and she said, well, that's just fine. They don't have to do that if they don't want to. And they cited a rule which is basically designed for people stuffing envelopes and making, you know, phone calls from a call center, that, you know, if you're a volunteer, a grassroots volunteer, that you don't have to report as an in-kind the services you provide. But it certainly isn't supposed to apply to folks who are, you know, top dog lobbyists, because it just undermines transparency in government. Because you think, well, if this person can work and frame the campaign and the policies for the governor, and he gets reelected, well, you know, there's no real ability to trace that she was involved in that campaign. It might be getting some benefits given to her because of that campaign. And so I had a big issue with that. I actually wrote an article in the Oregon Catalyst about it. It undermines transparency in government, and it's funny because at her inaugural, she said that she's here to restore transparency and faith in government. But, you know, I mean, if we look back at, you know, the Bruce Starr Bureau of Labor and Industries race, I think we can all remember when they said it was going to be set for May, and then Kate Brown's office all of a sudden realized that, well, it's a presidential election year, Avakian might be in danger, so how about we move this thing to November, where we knew that there was going to be a big-time voter turnout to re-elect the president. So I'm not sure her commitment, but, you know, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt for now. A little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I'm suspicious.
Okay, so Kate Brown is the footstool for the governor. She had responsibility. Now, if she was the watchdog for the people, wouldn't she have been doing due process and taking care of this conflict of interest?
Well, you know, she has, I mean, I think it's one of those situations where, first and foremost, she really wanted to wait to take this guy down until after he got reelected, you know, because she obviously, I mean, it's like a Shakespeare play, you know, I mean, you know, taking that as like Macbeth, trying to take out the king. But, you know, there's kind of a question as to, well, is it the Attorney General's responsibility, or is this the Secretary of State's responsibility? Because the campaign finance stuff goes through the Secretary of State's office. Some of this business stuff, as Margaret pointed out, you know, the corporate stuff, registrations and whatnot, go through the Secretary of State's office. But as far as, you know, civil or criminal investigations, that's the Attorney General. But the strange thing there is that the Attorney General, under current law, doesn't have the authority to actually open a criminal investigation unless the governor specifically gives him or her the authority to pursue a criminal investigation. And so when Governor Kitzhaber asked on a Monday to open an investigation, the Attorney General responded, "We did that on Friday." What then the big fight was Governor Kitzhaber said, "No, I only gave you the authorities you have under statute. I didn't give you the enhanced criminal investigation authorities." And it's the same guy who he's telling all of us, hang on, you know, we'll have the State Ethics Commission decide this, while his lawyers are simultaneously filing motions with the Ethics Commission claiming that neither him nor his fiance are subject to the jurisdiction. They're trying to get out of the whole Ethics Commission thing entirely. And so, you know, a lot of doublespeak, which I guess we can come to expect out of politicians. And that's why I think that this is just such a scandal of such large magnitude. As Ed kind of brought up, it's going to bring in a lot more people as this whole thing, really the investigations and subpoenas and the emails come to the surface. And I think that it's a big enough deal that the people that vote in lockstep for Democrats may have a second opinion this time around. At least I'm hopeful that's the case. See you.